been so long since I filmed. I have a feeling I'm just gonna be like rambling like crazy. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley if this is your first time here, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for your continued support, especially since I've been gone for a month. I just needed to take a little break, and I did, but we're not going to get into that today. I have a vlog coming later in the week that will give more context to where I've been. Today, we are talking about my Fall TBR. I am participating in 2 different readathons this fall. Well, really 3, but today we're talking about 2. The first being the Mystic Readathon that is hosted by Nail Diamond here on YouTube, and the other is called the Seasonal Spooky Challenge, and that is hosted by Covers with Cassidy, who is also here on YouTube. I will link both of them down in the description box below. The third readathon that I plan to participate in will be the Clear Your Shit readathon that goes from November to December, but the prompts for that have not come out. I don't expect those to come out until like October timeframe. So when we get those, we'll talk about that then. So I'm gonna start off with the Mystic Readathon. I'm starting with it because it just runs through the month of September, and it is like a point-based readathon. I have never participated in one like this where like I am on a team. So this readathon is based around the Vampire Diaries. I will be the first to admit that I think I started it and got partway through like season 1, and then I kind of like dropped off. But Nell is apparently like this huge Vampire Diaries stan, and so she put together this readathon and she's put a lot of work into it, and there are different teams that you can join. I think it's vampire, werewolf, witch, human, and I don't know what the last one is, but I joined Team Vampire because of course I have always been a Team Vampire girly dating back to my Twilight days, so we're sticking with that theme here. My prompts, the first 4, are based on the Team Vampire prompts that we are given in the Discord, and then the rest of them are the community prompts that are additional ways to win points. And then there are weekly prompts that will come out based on the team ranking. I will be honest, I have no idea how this is going to work, so I'm just relying on the Discord group to tell me, but there could be books that are thrown in that are not listed here, so we shall see. I plan to vlog the whole experience, honestly. So let's just get into the prompts and what I picked for them. The first prompt is a book with a red cover, and I picked Apprentice to the Villain, and this is book 2 to Assistant to the Villain. When I first read Assistant to the Villain, I was not really sure how I felt about it. It had to sit with me a couple of days. I think it was like a 3.5 for me. And I did get the chance to meet the author at a Polycon this past year, and she is super sweet and was extremely nice. I am excited to get into this. I do know that book 1 left in a bit of a cliffhanger, and I was very interested to see where we were going to go, and I don't feel like I have to reread that book to get back into this one, but I feel pretty confident going into this book. I did hear that this book is a little more plot heavy than book 1 was, and I am excited about that. Book 1 felt very much like for the vibes, for the feels, very cozy, romantic-y. So yes, this is pick 1, Apprentice to the Villain. The next prompt is books that start with a V, and for that I chose Vampires of El Norte. I will be honest with you, I have no idea what is going on in this book, and I could sit here and say that I'm going to read the synopsis and go from there, but I'm not going to do that. I think I'm just going to go in blind and hope for the best. This is a book that makes me nervous. I do have a nervous stack and a stack that I'm anxious to get to. This is definitely on my nervous stack, mainly because the cover of it is giving me Mexican Gothic vibes, and I did not have a good time with that. And so I'm scared that this is going to be gothic. And I have not had great luck with gothic, at least not reading it with my eyes. Like when I listen to it, I can feel the atmosphere and get into it. But as far as like reading it myself, I worry. So I'm just gonna hope for the best. But this is my book choice for books that start with a V. So the next prompt is blood on the cover or in the title. So for this, I chose Home is Where the Bodies Are. Ever since I saw the cover of this book, I was like, I'm gonna get it. I wanna own it. Don't know when I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna get it. I am extremely excited to read this. I don't know if it falls into like the horror or the thriller. I feel like it's more on the thriller side of things. So yeah, we shall see how I feel. So the last Team Vampire prompt is a book with vampires, and I chose When Life Gives You Vampires. And this was gifted to me by my bestie Jenna. And again, don't know much. I think she wakes up and has been turned into a vampire, so she's just learning how to navigate life. And you know, I'm here for the vibes. I love the idea of like, you were accidentally turned into a vampire. Welcome to eternal life. And just seeing how our main character is going to handle that. So not much to say other than it's a book that has vampires, and I'm curious as to where we're gonna go with this. Now, I will say I am a bit of a chicken when it comes to like watching scary movies. So this first readathon, I did not lean very heavily into the scary. You will notice that the books that I picked for the Mystic readathon lean in many different areas and not in like just the scary of things. The next set of prompts for the Mystic readathon is challenge prompts, and these are just extra prompts to be able to win points for your team. So the first prompt is a book written by a BIPOC author, and I chose Block Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I absolutely loved The Long Shot by her. I read it in December last year. It ended up being my favorite book of the year in 2023, and I have been extremely excited to continue the series. I just hadn't made time for it. One thing that I did not mention is the point system for the Mystic Readathon is also based upon the length of the book. So I did not shy away from putting thicker books onto this TBR. Hopefully I can get through them fairly quickly, but I'm so excited to continue this series. The next prompt is a Black or Indigenous main character, and for that I chose My Dear Henry. I cannot tell you anything about this book other than it being a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde retelling. I don't even know the original story, and maybe I'll look it up before I get into this book, but I was very interested in the synopsis. So I'm, number one, happy to check another own book off of my TBR, and number two, to read something a little bit different and out of my element. I think this does lean more toward like the horror thriller, but I think it's YA. I'll have to check. But I am very excited to read it. I absolutely love the cover, and yeah, that is my pick for Black or Indigenous main character. Our next prompt is a book set in Georgia or Virginia, and for that I chose Before I Let Go by Miss Kennedy Ryan. Another Kennedy Ryan on the list, and I think I did a challenge last year that I put Kennedy Ryan on the list twice, and I'm pretty sure this was one and The Long Shot was one. So hopefully I will get to this year. I know this book took the Bookstagram book world by storm, and I've had it for quite some time, and I have been scared to read it because I will be honest and say that I'm not a fan of second chance romances. I kind of feel like you broke up for a reason, so why are we doing this again? I've only heard good things about it. I'm going to give it a chance, and hopefully I will really enjoy it. The next prompt is a book that has curse in the title, and for that I chose A Curse of Blood and Wolves. This was a book that I got in the Romantasy Fairy Loot book box, and I think this was the third book to come, and I have not heard fantastic reviews about it, but it's the only book that I own that had cursed in the title, and so I was like, you know what, it is time for me to read it, and just, if I don't like it, I can figure out what I'm gonna do with it. But it is stunning. It is very beautiful. So I hope that I like it so that I have a reason to keep it on my shelves. I think this obviously has to do with werewolves, but that's pretty much all I know. So we're just gonna go into it blind. Okay, so the next prompt is an LGBTQ plus main character, and for that I've chosen boyfriend material, and I again have had this book for quite some time. I was super excited to read this when I bought it because I think I bought it right after Red, White, and Royal Blue, and I was just in the mood to continue, and then I heard like some bad reviews about it, so that kind of made me like continue to push it back. But I feel like now is the time. I think it's like a bad boy, good guy type situation, but boyfriend material is my pick for the LGBTQ plus prompt. So for the next three prompts, each team in this readathon has faction leaders, and they're the ones who will be hosting like the reading sprints and different things like that to root on their team and help everybody push towards their reading goals for the month. And so these next three prompts are like geared toward them. The first prompt with the faction leaders is to pick a favorite book that the faction leader provided, and it has to be one that is not your team's faction leader. For this prompt, I picked Butcher and Blackbird. No need to explain what's going on here. This book has taken the book world by storm. I feel like I was seeing this book everywhere there for a while, and I am very excited to read it. The next prompt is to pick a book from your faction leader's list of favorites, and for that I picked A Dowry of Blood. This was also a Fairy Loot book that I got, I think, when I had the adult subscription, and it is gorgeous. I've had it for quite some time. Another book that I needed to get to. I believe this touches on, what's his name, Dracula, but like the wife of Dracula, maybe. I feel like I've heard mixed reviews on this, and I know this is a gothic horror situation, so we shall see. We shall see how we fare. And then the last prompt that I have thus far for the Mystic Readathon is to choose a book from the favorite books that the creator, who was Neil Diamond, provided. And for that, I will be reading The Serpent in the Wings of Night. This is one that, goodness, has been on my TBR forever. I don't actually own it, so I will either purchase it when I'm ready to hop into that series, or I will read it on Kindle Unlimited. I'm not sure yet. I keep going back and forth. I know when I first heard about Carissa Broadbent, it was the other series that was making the rounds, The Daughter of No Worlds, I believe is what it's called. And I think when people like flew through that, they picked this one up. And this one's supposed to be more of the like adult romantasy vibes, whereas I think the other one was more YA leaning. I'm not sure, but I feel like I should own them. I really do, because I think that I will like them just from what I've read and what I've heard people say about it. I think I will really enjoy the series. I'll either just read it on Kindle Unlimited, or I'll just bite the bullet and buy it and see what we get from there. So that was the last prompt for the Mystic Readathon. I do plan on doing weekly readathon vlogs to track how I'm doing, but yeah, I'm very hopeful. I'm hopeful just because I've been preparing myself. I feel like I got enough picks here that I'm super excited about and ready to jump into, so things should go well. Okay, so the next readathon that I will be reading prompts from is the Seasonal Spooky Challenge, and I will post a picture here of the graphic that Covers by Cassidy created. I just want to point out that the rules, loose rules, are that you have to have a book that matches the setting and the unlocking prompt, but the covers prompts, you can read like separate books for those. I'm pretty sure that's how it was explained. I will make sure that the explanation videos for both of these readathons are in the description box because I'm doing a terrible job at it. But so when I made these picks, I made sure to pick a book that at least matched the setting and the unlocking. Some of them do have the cover prompt taken care of. So the first book I picked is Delicious Monsters, and this is a book that I recently heard about. It is YA, and I believe it is horror. And the booktuber that I was watching read and review this book, when I tell you she was sobbing at the end of that book, at the end of this book, that I immediately like added to cart because what? Like, I want to know what is so sad about this. But this book fulfills the haunted house prompt, the YA unlocking, and hands on the cover. And Books with Cassidy did say she was like wanting like the hand to be the prominent thing, but like when you look at the hand that's on this and how it turns into a tree, I'm like, okay, it's just creepy enough that this hand can qualify. So I am equal parts excited and anxious to read this. I'm terrified because again, it's a thickie, but it is one that I could put off until October once I get through like the bigger books of the Mystic Readathon. But I am excited to see what comes of this book. The next book that I picked for the spooky season challenge, seasonal spooky challenge, is The Southern Book Guide to Slaying Vampires. I think I said that right. I will pop the cover up here. I have had this book on my Kindle for at least a year, and Erin from Booked and Busy raves about this book. She says she absolutely loves it, and say no more. If Erin says it's good, I'm more than likely going to read it. I am extremely excited. This will be my first Grady Hendrix book. I am excited to start my Grady Hendrix journey and see if I enjoy his writing. The prompts that this book satisfies is the Southern setting, new author, but I'm saying new to me, an author unlocking, and blood on the cover. Now Cassidy did say that you could make these prompts work for you, and I know Grady Hendrix is not a new author, but he is new to me. I have not read anything from him, so new author translated to new to me author, and we're just gonna go with it, okay? Okay. So the next book that I picked is Confessions, and this book satisfies the isolating setting and the novella unlocking. It is super short. I think it's like 200 pages, and it takes place in a classroom. I believe it has something to do with a teacher whose daughter was a student at the school that she teaches at, and I shouldn't say daughter, child, passed away due to something that went on with like other classmates, and the teacher is like on her last day of school, and she is making the people who were the cause of her child's death pay for it. That is what I'm thinking is about. I could be totally wrong. The next book on my list is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and this satisfies the prompt for small town setting in a book that I did not buy because my bestie did give me the hardbacks of this series. I am extremely excited to read this book. This has been on my radar for quite some time. I have been wanting to read it, just did not make the time. But now that there is a Netflix series that honestly flew completely over my head, I did not know was coming. But also, I am super excited because my oldest daughter wants to read this book. So I'm hoping to get through it and absolutely love it and pass it along to her and have her love it and just have something that we can gush about. But I am super excited to start this series. So the next book that I picked is Heads Will Roll, and I will be honest with you, I know nothing about this book. Books with Cassidy, in her explanation video of this readathon, she gave different options for you to read for each prompt, and this was one that she gave for the summer camp setting. And I am going to be borrowing this from Livy and listening to the audio, and this also satisfies the weapon on the cover. So we're just going into it blind. I am actually terrified to listen to this because I know it is a horror book and I'm a weenie. So we shall see how I fare. The next book on my list is Does It Hurt? And it's no secret that I'm a fan of H.D. Carlton. I loved the Haunting Adeline series, Judge Your Mama. And I was ready to read more from her. I am very excited about this book. I know it has gotten mixed reviews, but I have a feeling that all her writing is going to be very acquired taste just because of the way she writes and the things she puts in her books. But Does It Hurt satisfies the coastal setting on someone else's TBR. I got this from one of Books and Lala's videos where she read it, and also water on the cover. So the next book is Nine-Tailed. This book I got from the Amazon Reads First thing that you get with your Kindle subscription, your Kindle Unlimited subscription. So this was a new release that just came out in August, and it was one of like 9 books that I was able to pick from for free to be able to own. And I don't know much about this other than it is an urban fantasy. So it satisfies the urban prompt, new release, and it has an animal on the cover. So that's what we went with. This is one that I'm scared about because I don't know anything. I don't know what to expect. For the last book that I picked, it is Out There Screaming, and this is a horror anthology that has stories submitted by all Black authors. This hopefully satisfies the in the woods setting and the diverse unlocking. I have never read an anthology, and I have a couple, so I am excited to read this. Equal parts scared. I'm hoping that I at least enjoy a majority of the stories that are featured within this anthology, mainly because I do want to branch out into like thriller, mystery, and horror books, and I feel like this anthology will be a great way to see like what I do and don't like. But I am excited. I've had this for a few months now, and I've just been looking for the perfect time to pick it up, and it looks like I found it. A majority of these prompts were filled when I picked out the books. There were 3 cover prompts that were not fulfilled, and that was Window, Tech, and Eyeball. At the time of me like looking for books for this, since then I have found 2 books for 2 of the 3 remaining cover prompts. So for the cover prompt Window, I chose The Woman in the Window. I know obviously this has made some type of a splash because it was made into a motion picture. I think that is on Netflix. I'm not 1000% sure, but the fact that Gillian Flynn blurbed it, say less. We love Gillian Flynn in this household. I have one more book left from her that I need to read to satisfy like reading her backlist, but I am again equal parts anxious, equal parts excited of getting to this. She's pretty thick, and yeah, we shall see. And maybe I'll watch the movie afterwards. I don't know. If I can convince my husband to watch it with me, then I will definitely watch the movie. The other book that I was able to pull, and I don't know why I forgot I had both of these, this satisfies the tech on the cover prompt, and this is Friend Request. And I remember picking this up at a thrift store. I remember reading the synopsis. I think it has to do with a girl who passed away, and now people are getting emails from her. Maybe, I don't know. But I am actually excited for this, mainly because I forgot I had it and I'm very curious. I know there is a book, I know there is a movie that is out, a horror movie, I think, with the same name. Don't know if it's the same like premise or what have you, but very curious and excited to read this one. The only, I think, rules that were in place that Cassidy said was like the setting and the unlocking had to be together in the books that you picked, but you could pick other books individually for the cover prompts. And then there are bonus challenges that are at the bottom of this little prompt sheet, and you can find those different bonuses like within the books that you are reading. And I'm leaving that open to even the books that I read in the Mystic Readathon, because I know like Butcher and Blackbird has accidental cannibalism, whatever that means, but that would satisfy like the bonus challenge of cannibalism. And then like the vampires and cult, I don't know if we're gonna have, if I have any culty books. You'll find out when I find out. There. So those are my picks for the readathons that I plan on participating in the fall season, part of the fall season. Now I do have 3 more books that at some point I'm hoping to get to before the end of the year, and I'm just going to go through those very quickly. So the first book is a reread for me. I am reading this series with my bestie Kathleen. I'm wanting to start from the beginning because it's been a couple of years since I've read this, and I want to relive it all and kind of marathon the series, and doing that with a buddy seems like the way to go. So the first book that I plan to also read during this chaotic readathon situation is From Blood and Ash. I am super excited to get back into this world, but I'm going to be reading as JLA intended us to read this series, because I did not do that the last time. The next book that I picked is A Gathering of Shadows. So one of the goals that I plan to have for myself in 2025 is to complete the series that I have started. I think I have like 30 series that are open that I have not finished. I'm currently, at the time of filming this video, listening to A Darker Shade of Magic again. I had already read it before, but like I said, it's been a while. So I'm listening to the audio just to refresh my memory before I hop back into this one. We'll see like when I can get to it, when I pick it up. The last book that I am hoping to get to within this fall time period is Babel. I don't know, y'all. I do not know. I've heard so many things, and honestly, I am terrified to read this book. Utterly terrified. But I do plan to immersion read this book, so I'm going to request the audio from Libby and listen to it while I'm reading. Hopefully that will allow me to get through this book fairly quickly, because I'll only have 2 weeks before my library hold is up. Okay, so that has been my fall TBR. There are a ton of books over here. I'm extremely excited about everything. Once the Clear Your Shit prompts are released in October, I will probably do another video where I'm picking those reads out. And yeah, we'll just leave it here. So if you made it this far in the video, leave me the book stack emoji, because books on books on books to be read. And let's do all the YouTube things. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so you don't miss any uploads. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up, and also share this video. Help me get my channel out to others. My goal for the end of this year is to hit 500 subscribers, and I would appreciate all the help to get there. So I will see you all in my next one. Bye.